welcome back to the Decent Bloke podcast. And this is our 10th episode, which means we've now completed season 1. Very exciting times. You can see the looks of shock on everyone else's face in this Zoom call. You'll also see there are significantly more than 3 or 4 people, which we usually have. I think I can count up to 7. So yeah, today we've decided to rip off the BBC, much like America does on a regular basis. And we're going to be doing our own style of Would I Lie to You. So today I am doing my best Rob Brydon impression. Whether or not I'll speak in a Welsh accent as the show goes on, we'll see. But hopefully, for everyone's sake, the one benefit of me being here over him is that I won't do a Michael Caine impression. And today I'm joined by our regular co-host, David Mitchell. David Elway Smith. How are you doing, buddy?
I've been pretty good. I had a bit of a busy week this week, but that's over, and I'm reached the weekend and been rewarded with a special episode of this podcast. And I'm on my team. I'm joined by another David. Sadly, not David Mitchell, but he's a pretty good David. You would have remembered him from the exercise episode. David Sodek, how have you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Sort of not really been doing anything since lockdown was announced. This has very much been the highlight of the weekend so far.
Oh, excellent. And I'm also joined by our composer, Mr. George Harrington.
Hello, my name's not David, but my middle name's David, which is close enough in my books.
That's good enough. You're allowed to be on the David team.
Oh, thank you. It's a true honour.
And just below David on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see Matthew Potts, not Lee Mack, sadly. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. As you can see, it's November, which means, in my mind, Christmas has started. And season finale, Christmas special. It adds up to me. I'm actually joined by one of our earliest, in fact, our single earliest guest, and one of our most recent guests, in Adam Jackson. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello. That's how I'm doing as well, to be fair.
Yes.
And how about you, Mr. John Cena? I mean, Mr. Ethan Ross.
Yeah, I'm good. Hi.
Marine biologist.
Yeah, my name is John.
Ethan, is that your middle name? Ethan John Ross?
No, my middle name's Cena.
Oh, okay, right.
It all makes sense if you think
Fantastic. About it. Sure. Yep, I'm not super confident having these two on my team.
Bit unfair.
But
How dare you?
hopefully we still make it through victorious.
Yeah, well, one team will make it through victorious today. And for the first round, it's a bit of a Would I Lie to You? I mean, a completely original idea. And for this, we have 2 teams. As you'll see, there's the top 3 of David, and George, and the middle 3 of Adam, Matt, and Ethan. I believe we'll start off with Matthew's team, but we're not going to start with him.
I've ridden an elephant.
What kind of elephant? African or Indian elephant?
It was kind of quite large, grey, had 4 legs.
Generally, most elephants come under that. So,
Was that place India by any chance?
Oh, difficult question. Well, I've been to both Africa and India, so it could be either.
How old were you when you rode said elephant?
I was in my mid-teens.
right. How fast were you going in miles per hour?
Well, I wasn't calculating precisely, but I would call it quite slow.
Okay, was this not on Strava then?
Did he beat your personal best?
Slow by walking, but that's not possible. So
That isn't.
So slightly faster. Granted, they did
So,
have big legs, so it would make sense.
Like, when you're riding the elephant, was it like Aladdin, where you're like, it's grand entrance, or were you like part of like a herd of elephants? Did you like tame the elephant, or were you given the elephant as a gift? Like, we need some more context of how you got to the elephant.
The matter is still under investigation by the authorities.
Okay.
All these years later, the Indian police are still looking into the case of Adam Jackson. Or it could be African police. Yeah, okay.
Because Africa is just one country.
Where in Africa have you been, Adam?
Or several bits.
Ah, enlighten us. Which bits?
Indeed. In the north of Africa, predominantly.
Any more
When we talk about North Africa, like West Africa or more Egypt area?
Well, more Egypt area.
Okay. Do they have anything in Egypt?
Who knows?
You should know. You rode one.
This is going really well. Okay, Adam. Irrespective of which part of Africa you've been to, give us a little bit of context of how you came to end up riding this elephant. Because I'm guessing you didn't steal it from somewhere. Was this like something that was
this Grand
suggested
Theft
to
Elephant?
tourists? Was this on like a summer holiday? How did you come to end up riding this elephant?
Don't do investigation, but
You can't say that for every answer.
I'm gonna answer.
Could I have a 5-minute aside with my teammate, please? Adam, you've got to stop withholding.
I was on a trip to sightsee in the country.
Okay.
Which we don't know yet. We don't know what country.
In a country, okay.
Well, initially, from the off, I thought this was the truth, because obviously, as we all know, Adam's been to India, to Delhi, as is shown by the hoodie he's wearing.
Yes. If Adam could, yeah, exactly. That isn't him.
And he would have been
That
in his
hoodie actually
mid-teens
says,
there.
I've ridden an elephant on it.
Yes.
That's what
We just can't read it.
So you can't see it.
What was the dialect of the local people of the country you were in? And don't say it's under investigation.
It was Hindi.
It was Hindi.
Okay.
Okay. So, amongst the team, as far as I know, Hindi is more commonly spoken in India than in Africa.
Can confirm.
Cool. Well, as long as we're in agreement. So,
How long did you ride it for?
I believe we started at kind of one point, and we were put on the elephant, and it kind of went down to kind of the bottom of the hill, I think, basically like a small hill, and then we got off the elephant and we left. Then went somewhere else.
were you the only person on the elephant? Or elephants are quite big, so they can fit multiple people, I imagine. So, were you kind of like in part of a conga line on a single elephant, or did you get the whole elephant to yourself?
I think there were multiple elephants and multiple people per elephant from memory.
Okay.
Guys, I'm very sorry. I'm going to have to press you for that answer.
Please never do that again.
Yeah, the whole of Wales now hates you.
I'm thinking
right,
it's the
guys.
truth, because Adam's being deliberately difficult in telling this story. So I think he's trying to make us think it's a lie. I'm not sure what you guys think.
It's consistent with the fact that he went to India and he did kind of open up from that it's being investigated to actually giving us some information. So I'm inclined to agree.
I'd say truth as well. I'll go with truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, that's our answer. We think it's the truth.
Thank you. Adam, can you now reveal whether it is a truth or a lie?
It is a truth.
Hey,
Yes!
Nice. Well done, lads.
I think now we're ready to move on to the other team. And I think, George Harrington, are you ready?
Okay. I have crashed a quad bike before.
Where?
My parents currently live in West Sussex. Then, when I was at at senior school, almost at high school, I lived in Kent, as you know, Potts. Before then, I lived in in Northamptonshire and went to school sort of in Peterborough. So I went round to a friend's house who I knew from when I was a cathedral chorister, and he had sort of a variety of implements which he could transport on, a couple of bicycles and one or two quad
Any
bikes.
elephants?
Sadly not. He just as I moved house, he got hands on an elephant from Adam Jackson. And so it was, he originally only had one quad bike, so I used to go there and we'd sort of take turns riding it. He was obviously way better than I was because he lived on a farm, and so I tried it, and he would kind of cap the speed limit on the quad bike into basically just a very slow crawl. But then eventually he got a second quad bike. This one was considerably quite a bit bigger than the other quad bike, which meant I was able to go around to his house once. By this time, I don't know, I was maybe about 10 years old. And we were able to race the quad bikes on my insistence. He was not quite sure because he was a lot better than me, although I refused to believe this. So he took his fancy big quad bike and I took the little one, which I thought I had some experience with by this point.
Hang on a minute. You just said that the little one was capped at a slow speed. So how's that a fair race?
No. He capped it when I drove it. But as I was about to say, we took the cap off so that I could fairly keep up with him at a relative speed.
Okay.
So I went around his house once after choir, and we decided to have a race around his farm. On the course of this race, I vividly remember I tried to undercut him in the corner. Even though his quad bike was bigger, I thought I had the advantage of being smaller and that I'd be able to do a good turn. By this point, I'd had a wealth of experience in Mario Kart. And as we all know from Mario Kart, if you don't have bullet bill, you just press the drift button, then you get some sparks and you go faster. That's how driving works in real life,
Absolutely.
I assume. So I tried to do the same thing, tried to drift around the corner. Then I didn't quite account for the fact I was racing my friend on a farm. So I hit a mudslide around the corner at just the wrong angle, which meant the back tyres ended up sort of going a bit too far more the way than I'd hoped. As a result, I kind of spun and then flew backwards into a field full of cows. Safe to say I've not ridden a quad bike ever since, and I don't think my mum would ever let me ride one again.
Did you sustain any injuries?
Nothing like long term, maybe some mental injuries, depending on what you guys have noticed about me. But yeah, thankfully, I can proudly say I've not broken a bone before.
All right, don't rub it in.
No.
Did your friend never speak to you again?
Oh, my friend loved it. He was not responsible at all. Thankfully, the quad bike was fine. It was just me that I did dislocate my shoulder, which was the single most painful experience of my life. And I sprained my ankle as well, sort of on the way down. But eventually, I think I got better. I don't know.
What was your friend's name?
Charlie.
How'd you meet?
We were choruses.
Yeah, no, he gave us that one. Were you even listening to the story? I asked him where did he crash this quad bike, and he responded not by just saying, "Oh, Peterborough." He decided to give us his entire backstory, his life as a chorister, and friends with this Charlie bloke.
I was digging. I was digging for consistency. Okay.
Okay. No, fair
What's
enough,
his
fair
second
enough,
name?
I'm not at a place to disclose my childhood friend's name.
What's his first name?
On a podcast. I told you his first name.
And where did this happen?
That is still being investigated.
So you said you were on a bicycle.
No, I said my friend had bicycles.
You crashed a scooter in India?
Guys, I think frankly these questions are becoming ridiculous, so I'm going to have to press Team 2 for an answer.
You sure you don't want to repeat that in a Welsh accent, Josh?
I think the Welsh viewers would love it. They'll welcome me as one of their own. But yes, what are you guys thinking on what George has told you?
I think that it's a truth, because I don't think George is very good at lying, and I think he's been far too detailed with his description of said event for it to be a lie.
Adam, what about you?
I don't know. It's so detailed that it makes me doubt whether it is true, almost. And also, I doubt whether his mum would have let him ride a quad bike in the first place at 10 years old.
It's a good point. He makes an excellent point.
You know what? You two have put me in a really horrible position now, because I have to side with somebody, and if we're wrong, then I look like a complete muppet.
I mean...
So, I was willing to believe... Well, the thing is, I was willing to believe it for the same reasons Ethan was, being that it was a very detailed story, but I was also willing to disbelieve it for the same reason Adam was. So I was sold either way. George, you don't want to try and sway me here.
No, When has Adam ever told you the truth?
Okay, now I'm more willing to believe Adam, purely on your own spite. I was going to go with my gut and say truth, but I'm... come on, guys, give me more. Ethan, how sold are you that it's the truth?
I'm pretty sold. Based on I don't think George could come up with so many facts in a coherent sequence.
But here's the thing. He put off actually explaining the incident itself by giving us such a prolonged backstory about how he lived.
Oh, I see. You think it was thinking time?
And then, I think he was giving himself more deliberation time by being like, oh yeah, then I lived in Kent, then I lived in Northamptonshire or wherever Peterborough is. So
Cambridgeshire.
On that, I'm going to side with Adam and say it's a lie.
Okay.
George, can you reveal whether it was a truth or a lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Yes!
Good call.
Okay, David.
For 2 weeks, I rode into school on a donkey.
What?
Where were you when this occurred?
Good question, Adam. I haven't thought of that yet. Give me 2 seconds. This is one of my many strange, weird and wonderful stories from Spain. So I won't quite go into the detailed history that George...
No, we want you to go into the detail.
I won't go into the detailed history of where I lived, like George, but I will say that I used to live in Spain. We lived on a riverbank, and we were about 3 kilometres away from our village where I used to go to school. So, the other way that I normally go to school is as weird. So we used to
Is it a horse?
by boat.
Okay.
So, it used to be a boat, and then our neighbours bought a donkey or managed to get hold of a donkey, as you do. And for 2 weeks, we rode this thing into school because there was like a path above the riverbank, and you could get a bike, or you could walk along, or you could get a donkey along. Sorry?
How many of you rode this donkey?
So it was me, my sister, and then two of our neighbours' children, and maybe my brother? I can't remember. So it was either 4 or 5 of us were...
Hang on. 4 or 5? Hang on, at the same time. Did it have a trunk? And large ears?
Oh my god, did you say Spain or India? Okay, so you were riding the quad bike to school.
Absolutely, and then I slipped over a banana skin, and
Classic.
there's a certain theme with riding and crashing things.
Yes.
Luckily...
You crashed the donkey?
Well, not this time. I have since fallen off a donkey, which I thought was impossible to do, but I managed it, and I've never ridden a donkey again. But luckily this one, I managed to stay on it, and yeah, essentially for 2 weeks we rode it to school. It involved getting up flipping early though, because this thing was no match for a fast speedboat, so we had to allow like an extra half an hour, and we decided it wasn't worth it eventually. But yeah, for 2 weeks that's how I rode to school, allegedly.
Which part of Spain then?
So we lived in the south, and in fact we were right on the border with Portugal.
Okay.
Do you want an answer from us now, Josh?
No, I want to know what the donkey was called.
What was the donkey called? I think the donkey was called Bianco. It had like an Italian name, I think.
Unusual for Spain, then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bianco means white.
It means white in Italian.
Was the donkey white?
At one point it would have been, but they didn't wash it very often. So it was sort of half white, half grey. I don't know who they'd bought it from, but they only just bought it, and I think...
We're trying to ascertain whether or not this story is true, but one thing we know is a lie is the name of the donkey. Because it's not white. Do we get a point for saying lie, it wasn't white?
You get a point if you guess whether or not it is a truth or a lie.
What?
That's
what
the
we're
horse
playing.
was white. Sorry, the donkey was white.
The name. If it comes down to it and you're both completely level at the end of the game, I may give you the lead just for that.
Absolutely not.
What? No.
I was going to say, that's way too charitable.
We'll take it to the Supreme Court.
Right, guys, what do we think? Well, unless we want to ask him anything more, because I think I've got all I'm going to get from this personally.
I think it's true. I think that's...
You said that last time and you were wrong, pal. Are you how sure are you?
I'm like 40% sure.
That's less than half, man.
Yeah, that's true. No, I reckon it's true.
Okay.
Okay.
Adam, what do you think?
I'm deeply conflicted about this because it's believable, but I think he's also quite a good liar, you see. He's told it quite well. But I guess in southern Spain it's kind of believable they might have a donkey. I don't know.
Spain is believable.
Yeah.
But the donkey carrying 4 to 5 people is the bit that I'm confused by.
I would have been about... This was primary school, definitely. There's no way my dignity would have survived if this had been secondary school. I would have been about 6 or 7, maybe.
That makes the passenger carrying far more plausible, but also he could have just invented that as a response to my doubts as to that. So you guys both think it's true. Oh wait, no, Adam. You...
got a strong feeling either way. I think it could be either. I think it's very possible it could be either. I haven't really come down.
Okay, because I was the one pushed for an answer last time, I'm going to force you to push for an answer, Adam.
So
And I'll go with
we
whatever
can
you
choose.
go. I'll go with whatever you go with.
That's not
Okay,
what a team captain does.
Yeah. Passing the buck.
I'd like to throw the pressure here, Mr. Captain.
Now you know how I feel after last
Adam's
time.
been thrown under the bus, or should I say the elephant, or the donkey, or the quadbike.
All the quadbike.
All of them.
I suppose, on balance, true.
Okay, then I guess we're saying
True.
true.
David, can you now reveal?
Wow, if you lads think that I rode a donkey into school, then you are absolutely right. It's true.
Good stuff.
You had us on the ropes with that little bait there. I was sure that you were about to call us idiots. Because I felt like an idiot. Because why would that be true? Why would anyone ride a donkey to school?
Yes.
What the fuck has this game done to me?
This is a man who grew up without television, to be fair, so you can understand.
That was the first thing I thought,
It's a
yeah.
real lifestyle. He had to kill his food every night before eating it. He had to collect the crops.
Is that why you stopped riding the donkey? Because you had to kill it after 2
Yikes.
Poor Bianco.
Hey, you know how he killed the donkey? He ran a quad bike into it.
Did the donkey used to live in Kent, then live in Peterborough?
I think my neighbours bought it from a family called Harrington.
You're very shady bunch. You don't want to
What
deal
are
with
those futuristic donkeys with like wheels in that and handlebars?
I think we'll move back to Matt's team now to read out the next statement. And we won't go with the team captain yet. We might save him until last. And we'll move on to Ethan Ross.
Can you
Okay.
read your statement, please?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, I did voice acting work in a YouTube video that has over 10,000 views.
Wow.
Okay.
So
you've had 30 seconds to think about this one. What did you do voice acting for?
I was a Dalek.
can you please do us your Dalek impression?
I'll send you all a link to the video. I don't think I can do it justice right now.
Okay, I'm very excited to see it. So, why were you doing a Dalek voice?
So, me and my brother used to play with our Doctor Who action figures. And one day we were like, hey, we should film this, like one of those episodes on TV. So, we have a studio in our garage. And my dad's got loads of recording stuff because he used to be a DJ. So we were like, yeah, let's go for it. So my brother was the Doctor, and I was all of the Daleks, which was about 4.
Where did your dad DJ?
It was the local, I was going to
Nightclub
say
or-
newspaper, radio station.
You DJ'd? Oh, you DJ'd for the news.
He did, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking like radio. Okay.
He did, yeah, he
Okay,
did that,
right.
yeah.
Ethan, can you remember the exact name of this YouTube video?
The exact name. Are you gonna try and find this YouTube video? Because that would be
Not
cheating.
during
No,
the
we can't-
recording.
yeah,
I
we
want to
can't
know
go
if you
back
can
for it.
remember it.
Okay, the video's title was Daleks in Torchwood. It was about Daleks in Torchwood.
It's funny that.
So,
No
I'm
cheating,
glad I-
Okay,
please.
right.
No cheating, please.
Sounds
No.
plausible.
can you
My hands are up here.
Hands
they're
are
not
off the
typing.
keyboard.
can you give us a run on the plot? Because like, the one thing I'm thinking is that your brother did the voice of a doctor.
Yeah.
But the Doctor isn't in the show Torchwood. It's Captain Jack. So,
That's a good
like,
point.
what was the plot of this video?
What is the plot? So, there's Daleks in Torchwood, and
Yes, you said that.
guys, it's not a great plot. The Doctor turns up, he opens the door, and there's like 4 Daleks, and then he kind of... I think the whole premise is that he realises they're Daleks, which is very obvious, and then he stops them, and then he goes back in his TARDIS, and he flies away.
How old were you when you made this video?
Pretty old, like 9.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I was expecting like 19 there.
I'd like to know if there are any donkeys or elephants in this video.
Yeah, we had a few cameos. Donkeys were easier to get because they're not endangered at the moment. We got a couple of elephants too, but we struggled to get them in frame because our studio in our garage is only like yay big and they couldn't quite fit. So yeah, it was difficult.
How many videos
Yeah,
did you have on your YouTube channel?
How many videos? We must have uploaded 2 or 3 videos.
And this one's got over 10,000 views.
This one has over 10,000 views, yeah.
Wow.
YouTube was
What?
like, you need one of those platinum things they send you when you hit a certain mark.
So there are many different incarnations of the Doctor. The best being David Tennant.
No, the best is my brother, mate.
Other than your brother, of course. Was your brother dressed up as the Doctor, or was this all sort of miniatures or Lego?
It wasn't Lego. We had our toys. So he'd
So which Doctor was it then?
It was David Tennant.
Okay. There was hesitation there. Right. Any other questions, guys?
Was David Tennant the Doctor when we were 9?
I mean, he could, even if David Tennant wasn't the Doctor at the time, it might have been an homage to David Tennant, who is the best Doctor.
Yeah, if it was Matt Smith, there'd be more problems.
Called it early.
Can we have the statement again, Ethan? What was the statement you were given?
The statement. I did voice acting work in a YouTube video. A YouTube video.
Yeah.
With over 10,000 views.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Where, sorry?
What website again?
Okay.
Where were you living at the time?
Where was I living?
I need details.
Peterborough on the south coast of Spain.
I was 9, so I was living at home with my papa and my mum.
And your brother, I assume.
Okay.
Nah, my brother lived down the street. He had a one-person flat. We only saw each other when we were recording.
He came and visited you on a donkey.
Oh.
He did. You see, donkeys can fit into our garage, so...
A strictly professional relationship.
Yeah, the whole way through. Yeah.
That means
it was purely voice acting.
That means if you've only seen your brother when you're voice acting, you've only ever seen your brother 3 times in your life.
Yeah, is that correct? This is true. It's a
and you've only ever seen him in character as David Tennant.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I saw Doctor Who and I was like, hang on a minute, that's my brother, but it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case.
Guys, I'm going to have to press you for an answer.
Okay, I'd like to hear from you two before I make my decision.
Given what I know about Ethan and his brother, I can genuinely see them doing it. I'm kind of sold. He threw in a few curveballs in there, like his brother lives on the street, which made me
That's true.
Skeptical. But slightly hesitantly, I'm going to say true.
David?
I was going to say lie. I'm not buying this one. He's told it well, but no, I don't think. I'm going to say lie.
Okay. I'm very inclined to think truth on this one. David, are you happy with that decision, seeing as you thought it was lie?
Yeah, I'll go with my team captain.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, indeed, when I was 9 years old, with my brother, I created a video on YouTube with over 10,000 views, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
We've heard from all 4 guests whether they're telling the truth or lying, and now I think it's the perfect time to move on to the team captains. In this wonderfully not flawed ABBA format, that means we move on to Matthew.
I have been in the paper dressed as a pumpkin.
Which paper?
It was the Kent Online. Well, it wasn't online, but it was called the Kent Online.
Okay.
Even though it was actual paper, so it was a newspaper, but
it was like it
wasn't online.
Yeah, you could buy it down the newsagents back in Maidstone, and no one read it other than a kid in my primary school and his mother, and she was an editor for it or something. And she came in. We had a fancy dress in primary school one time in year 4, I think it was, and it was like a Halloween fancy dress because it was October, and I was dressed as a pumpkin. Because that's pretty Halloweeny. I think we can all... Is that a particularly controversial statement?
Pretty controversial.
I'd accept
I think
it
it should be a doctor point for that.
Okay. I was dressed as a pumpkin, and she just took a photo of the entire class. Because we were in a class with this kid, and I was one of the people involved. That's the entire story. I'm sorry if it's pretty anticlimactic. I wasn't. It's not a portrait photograph of me. It's me and 30 other 8-year-old children, all dressed as various things. And one kid off to the side in his school uniform because he'd forgotten it was a non-uniform.
No. There's always one. The headline of the article, was it kid decides to dress up as pumpkin for Halloween, or was it?
No.
How controversial!
It was just Halloween celebrations at Roseacre Junior School. That's the name of the school I went to. If you're a predator and you're listening, go to town.
That's the kind of audience you want to cultivate on this podcast, of course.
Yes. No, it didn't single me out for being dressed as a pumpkin. I was part of an ensemble cast. Yeah. It was the pumpkin and the witch and the witch doctor and
so you got
and David Tennant. David Tennant was there
No,
as
mate,
well.
that was my brother. We've been over this. Okay.
I went to school with Ethan's brother. I also went to school with David, and we went in on a donkey.
So you got the really sexy role in this Halloween dress up at your school then, clearly.
Yeah, I say that I was just part of the ensemble. I don't mean to brag, I was the centerfold, because I was in a not a very streamlined outfit, it was quite wide. So I was in the middle of the photo. And also I was very short when I was 8 years old. So I was naturally one of the front row boys, sadly. My height is one of my deepest shames. But now I'm tall, thankfully, so it's fine.
What kind of a pumpkin were you? Would you describe yourself as a slutty pumpkin or a regular pumpkin?
No, I was 8.
That would be a bit inappropriate, wouldn't it?
That doesn't answer the question.
Again, we're not trying to cultivate paedophiles on this podcast. Yeah, no, I was just a regular pumpkin. I had a smiley face, but it was like a toothy smile. Okay. So, you've got like a banana shape, like that sort of shape for the smile, but then with like
tooth
indented squares.
No, I think we know what you mean. And was this was this front page news of like the most exciting thing to happen in Kent that week?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was the most exciting part of anyone's day in Kent, which is, as we know, is a very eventful and lively county. Yeah, it was fantastic.
So was this on the front page?
Well,
so the weird thing about the front page with Kent Online is you don't get one article like dominating the front page. It's not like the Sun where you've got like size 100 font like taking over the sheet. You've got multiple like streams of articles. I think it was the second one on the front page of like 3 with the celebration, because my school, I don't mean to blow my own trumpet or anything, but it was the school in Best in Maidstone, Kent.
It's about to be the school for sexual attacks as well, mate.
No.
I feel bad that I've left Maidstone, and in my wake I've left a horde of inbound predators.
Legacy.
What were some of the other costumes? Can you remember?
Well, I already said you had a witch. She had like a mop, I think, as her broomstick, which was unorthodox, I would say. And then you had like a zombie, and there was someone who was just a towel over his head, and he was a ghost. It was all very, very formulaic, Halloween-y like outfits, apart from the one kid who dressed as a witch doctor. Like the weird hook nose,
Plague, yeah.
I remember, I didn't know what one of those was. I don't think this kid did either, because we were 8. But I guess his parents really wanted to show off, and they wanted to be, really impressive. But it didn't impress anyone, because everyone was like, why are you dressed as some weird bird? But other than him and the guy who didn't dress up as anything, everyone was just, ghosts, zombies, witches, vampire... there were loads of vampires, actually. Yeah. And then me, the pumpkin.
What are we thinking, team?
I don't know.
It seems believable, but I'm hard pressed for any more questions which might catch him out. It could be as untrue as it could be true.
It's been well told. But despite living in Kent for 2 years, I've never heard of Kent Online, although that might just be me.
It's not. And also, it's called Kent Online, but it's a physical newspaper. That's the main discrepancy.
That's Kent
the
Online.
Daily Mail, but the Daily Mail is not called Mail Online.
No, that's what I mean. Kent Online is just it's its own entity. Kent does as Kent wants. All right? If that's what's tripping you up, let me tell you, you're in for a storm when you find out Kent Online is very much a real publication.
I should have known. I lived in Rochester for 7 years.
Well, the thing is, I don't know how local to the Medway it is, or if it was just a Maidstone thing, but it had Kent in the title. But it did have the Kent County Council logo in the corner, right? As far as I remember, so it should have been county-wide.
It was legit. You said no one read the newspaper, but it was still economically viable to the point where it continued to exist.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was made by the council.
I suppose it's state funded.
I say no one read it. people did
Yeah.
read it, but like, who the
Yes.
hell reads local news? Saddos
I
read
can
it.
I can well believe that this was an article in a paper though. This sounds very like
Yeah, but
don't know what to
my thing
write.
is it
Let's
could
just
have-
cover a school in like Halloween. Get a couple of Halloween photos.
I mean, yeah, no, Kent, they had nothing going on. They really were scraping below the bottom of the barrel.
Right. It's well told. I
do you
can't
think,
fault
Matt?
how the story's
Yeah.
told. On that basis
Yeah.
alone, I'd probably have to say true. It's something that could be made up, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's again something that that could very plausibly be true. I'm going to say true.
I think, given how well you described the general socioeconomic structure of Kent, I'm also going to have to say it's true. I agree.
Okay. I think, yeah, I agree with you that it can go either way, but my gut instincts lie. But I'd be a pretty bad team captain if I didn't go with my team members, so I'll have to go true then.
Matt, what was it?
It was a lie.
Being let down here.
No, right. Disclaimer. I thought I'd been found the moment I said Kent Online. I don't know what I was thinking. You really should have pressed harder into that. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Wait, we did!
The second thing, my parents were very anti-Halloween. And as much as my mother did enjoy, like, making outfits, like, during the school Christmas play in year 3, I was a teacher. Don't ask why there was a teacher at the Nativity, but that was a very,
Classic
I won costume
character.
of the year. Like, it was something my mum enjoyed doing, but she, drew the line at Halloween. She thought it was a made-up festival, which, to be fair, it is.
Much like Kent Online.
I know. Much like Kent Online, the well-known festival.
Why would a newspaper be called Kent Online?
No, mate, you're missing it. With the onset of COVID-19, Kent Online is booming, mate. You have no idea.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
We'll move back now. David is the only person not to have been quizzed so far, so I think we'll hand over to him.
I co-illustrated a book at the age of 7.
What was the book?
A fiction book.
So you were the illustrator or the co-illustrator.
Yeah.
Who was the author?
Someone close to me.
What is your...
Do you want to be more specific with that?
I could do. I could. The author was my brother.
Well, how old would he have been at the time? Like
He would
10
have been
also?
9 or 10.
That's pretty impressive for a 9 or 10-year-old.
Yeah, but remember, his brother went to Oxford. His brother's pretty smart.
Oh, right, is that one of the prerequisites? If you've published a book by the age of 9, you get into Oxford University.
What was the book about?
Like dragons and castles and stuff. Like
Ah,
just kind of
fairs.
fantasy adventure.
It definitely wasn't a manual on how to get into Oxford University.
Yeah, no, that was it. Like after the second page, it was just about how to get into Oxford.
Okay.
Again, Ethan, you're supposed to be grilling David right now, not me.
No, just continue.
How did you and your brother come to produce a book that was published?
So basically, my dad, when I was younger, he went off to Ghana to like help build an orphanage there, and as a prerequisite for that, he needed to fundraise a certain amount, and my brother wanted to help with that, so he wrote a book because he was a young aspiring author. So he wrote that, and then because my dad is actually a publisher, he got that published.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense if your dad's a publisher, why that would be published.
You said you were the co-illustrator. Who was the other illustrator? Or was it your brother, or was it someone else?
No, so it was one of his friends.
Oh, okay. And then who published it?
My dad. Oh, what publishing company?
Yes.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I was 7, so
No, no.
I wouldn't have remembered the books.
Adam, are you now some expert on publishing?
He's looking to get his history
I know
thesis
several.
published.
I do
Yeah,
know
you,
books,
David,
as we know, I like
you
books.
could have just said any sequence of letters and numbers and we'd have believed you. I have no idea.
No, Adam.
Did you know where this publisher's was when you were 7 years old?
Adam's making the most of the podcast to try and get his history theses published. It's like, if you know a decent publisher, let me know.
How many copies of this book were published?
At least over 1,000, I think.
1,000?
Yeah.
So it was.
Hey, look, that's only a tenth of the number of views of Dalek and Talk.
Exactly. It's not that impressive.
Okay, yeah. I get that my friends aren't as big as me, but what I'm saying is 1,000 is still that's still a hefty. Imagine that's a lot of pages. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pages.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's legit.
My understanding is that his dad is a legal editor, so it's publishing, but it's different. But it's not fiction, which makes me suspicious at the first.
Yeah, but he's going to be able to pull a few ropes,
Of
isn't he? Or
course,
whatever.
that's all linked.
It's his
but,
son.
I mean, it's a different branch. And also, I personally would have thought that you might have to pay for it to be published. So I edge towards it's a lie, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, right. So you're saying lie, you're saying true. I think it's true, so I'm going to go with Ethan and say true.
That's fair enough.
David, what was it, man?
It is in fact true.
Hey,
I did
nice.
do some of the illustrations, despite being terrible at drawing, for my brother's books, of which he wrote a trilogy of them in the end, which isn't bad for...
Wait, I've
for
read
the
them.
age
It's the
of
Lord of the
12.
Rings, isn't it?
Mate, I've met Owen, and it's not just the Oxford education. He's a smart guy. I could believe that age 9 he'd be into writing and
I've
stuff.
heard the book sold very well in Kent as well. Could that be down to the positive press it received in Kent Online?
Yeah, the book was called Kent Online. David's drawing was a drawing of a classroom of 8-year-olds in fancy dress, one of whom was dressed as a pumpkin.
And now we are at the end of the first round, and Matt's team has a solid 4-2 lead, but not unassailable.
High five, teammates. The size of the screens.
Adam, that was very wrong, mate.
Well, at least he didn't leave me hanging. Unlike, yeah, Ethan's a piece of shit.
Wait, what happened?
So, like,
You left me hanging. I went for a Zoom 5.
Oh, okay. Let's do that again.
Shall we do front on?
Okay.
Oh shit! I've moved the camera.
Based on that alone, I'm quite glad we're not winning, lads.
I'd be ashamed that you're losing to me right now, to be fair, based on what I just did.
However, there is one more round to go, and that is where I will have to do a little bit of maybe fibbing, maybe telling the truth. We'll see. I put 3 statements in. One of them is true, and the other 2 are false. So I'll post them in the chat now before I read them out. The first one is, I won a cash prize for making an arts and crafts pirate in primary school. The second one is, at my secondary school, the head pupil has to give a speech in Latin. And the third one is, I've lost £100 playing online poker.
How much was the cash prize then?
Right, so I believe it was £2, and I think, although it's hard to remember back to primary school, that this was a singular £2 coin. At the time, obviously, this was quite exciting for me because £2 felt like a lot more money then than it did now. I didn't have any bills to pay or anything, and yeah, I believe it was £2.
This ain't legit.
I don't wait.
What materials did you use?
So it was kind of, you know how when you're at primary school and you're doing arts and crafts stuff, they have like a general load of stuff. I think everyone was given...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very, very specific. That's one material.
Were you just prepping to get into
I did, mate, but
and I know the names of the materials I used. I didn't just say, oh, it was a selection of things.
Well, no, there was a general mix of stuff in. I used kind of...
A general, give me examples of this
I
mix.
was using felt to make this pirate.
Felt?
Felt.
Wait.
A pirate made entirely
how
of
did
felt.
you stick? How did you stick the felt?
Blue on as well.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so was this a 3D pirate or was it a 2D one? Like, because felt is normally quite a thin material.
Yeah, it was a 2D pirate.
2D pirate.
I mean, obviously, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't because it didn't exist.
But yeah, I think as well there was like a layer of cardboard underneath it. I think it was a plastic stick.
Plastic stick.
A plastic stick?
Well, no, like you know.
Where are you getting these from?
Things that you can hold like underneath, and then you can hold up the pirate to show people.
What, a wooden stick?
No, it was made of plastic.
Describe this plastic stick, Josh. I'm not buying it.
I mean, like not like a stick, but it was.
It came from a plastic tree.
No, not like the literalness of the stick. Like it was just a kind of thing put at the bottom of the pirate, like stuck in between 2 layers of cardboard, so that you could hold it up to show people.
Did everyone have to make a pirate with a similar plastic stick, or did you all have to make something and you made what was judged to be the best design? And that's
what was
you won
judged to be the best design? Excuse me, mate. What are you on about? It clearly was the best design and as such won the prize.
You've certainly described it as such.
Yeah, so sorry, your question is, did everyone have to make a pirate or did people...
Yeah, did everyone have to make a pirate?
No, everyone had to make a pirate.
Right, okay.
What was so special about your pirate that made it so much better than everyone else's, and thus warranted you win the prize
they were
over them?
pretty similar pirates, really. Like, they all were made out of the same materials.
They were all extremely similar, but yours was significantly enough better that you deserve to win a cash prize of £2, which, as we've already established, was a big lottery win back in primary school days.
I was 6 years old at this point, so I think it is...
Yeah, no, that bit I don't discredit. I think £2 is a lot for a 6-year-old. I just don't think why, if they were all exactly the same, you deserve the £2 over anyone else.
I think when you're 6, it was probably hard to show extreme artistic talent.
I mean, guys...
There you go. So why did they decide to give... It sounds to me like the teachers were just favouritists, and they were like, oh, we like Josh, give him £2, even though his felt pirate is complete shit, because who would make a pirate out of felt?
My pirate was the best, I was just awarded it. I think we had, like, the local paper.
I don't think you were, no.
Shots of, like, the different pirate. You know, some of them were dressed up as ghosts, some of them were dressed up as pumpkins. No, but
Yeah, I'm just looking at the wording of the statement. I won a cash prize for making a pirate. Nothing about that says I made the best pirate. So was this like a first place trophy, or was this like a participation?
No, everyone got £2.
How many people were you up against, and were you better at making a pirate out of felt than all of them?
So this was when I was at primary school in Surrey at the age of 6. My primary school was quite small. It was done by the year groups. So in Surrey, they split you between like reception, year 1 and year 2, and then year 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you go to 2 different schools for that.
Yeah. Right. And the year 3 to year 6, they get to make papier-mâché pirates. They're the really classy stuff. They're not lumbered with felts and plastic sticks.
That's because all of the younger years have stripped away the plastic tree. There's nothing left on it. It's been ripped apart from all these
all
bloody
the plastic
pirates.
leaves are wilting.
Shall we move on to the next point?
I think so.
I mean, yeah, so...
I'm going to start by quickly saying I know Josh's secondary school was posh and Christian, so... Makes sense.
I think this seems pretty legit as well.
When I saw all 3 of them on the surface, this was the one I was most inclined to believe.
Agree with that.
But is it too convenient though?
Yeah, I think it could be the third one still.
When did the head pupil have to make this speech? Because it sounds like it's one speech they had to make in Latin, and presumably they had to prepare it, and they would have gone through like pre and on the day nerves. When did they have to make this speech?
So we had this thing called Founders Day, which was to celebrate the founders and be thankful for the foundation, that kind of thing. It was also a religious school, so it had a huge religious aspect as well. It was performed in the chapel. And the head pupil was actually called the senior Grecian, and they had to read this out initially in Latin to everyone who was present, which wasn't just the school, which like it normally was. There were some other people there too. And then after they'd read it out in Latin, they had to read it in English as well.
Hang on, Josh, did you study Latin?
Yeah, I did in years 8 and 9. No, in year
Did you
8,
have
so
to?
in year 7 and 8, which you did have to do. At my school,
Okay,
you
well-
picked your GCSE options in to start in year 9. So I didn't pick it for GCSE and didn't keep going, but you could.
Did anyone else ever do Latin at school?
No.
I did a little bit. I did.
I did.
Did you ever learn what Grecian meant?
No, or it could be Greek, but
Well, Grecian
I was gonna
means
say,
relating to Greece.
That was really
Yeah.
weird. It sounds like
I would have thought
someone from
Greece.
Greece. but
Maybe
they
they had to
speak
do it in
Latin.
ancient Greek, and he's made this a lie.
Was it always the same speech, or did they have to compose a new one every year?
Yeah.
And if they did have to compose a new one every year, and they didn't know Latin, how did they go about that?
Yeah. Because you'd have to study Latin to write. And even then, GCSE Latin does not prepare you.
He makes a good point. He makes a good point.
Sorry, Matt,
Josh?
did you want to say
So
anything?
Josh, you want to answer that?
Sorry, I saw you had your hand up. I wasn't sure if you wanted to ask anything else.
Oh, right, no, I do have something additional, but I want you to answer the
Yeah.
question first,
So-
instead of deflecting.
So we had the Latin department, obviously, at school. All
Yes.
of these people there had done Latin for their degree, which is quite rare, so that's why it wasn't a massive department. More people than you'd think took it up at school, but not a huge amount. And so it had to be a different speech every year. The pupil the senior Grecian would write it in English, and then if they were doing Latin for A-level or IB, then they would translate it themselves. If they weren't studying Latin at A-level or IB, then the Latin department would translate it for them.
I think that's feasible.
That seems entirely plausible. The Grecian bit was the confusing part, because what you said, David and David, about how Grecian sounds like someone relating to Greece.
It does, to be fair.
I just think yes, but also they wouldn't be speaking Greek. I just feel like it would be Latin and not Greek.
Yeah,
because it's a more widely taught ancient language for sure.
I mean, you did have the
But that
option
could
to
be
do
Latin
Greek.
for Greek, because Greek and Latin in some sense is quite similar.
Latin's more relevant to the church.
Yeah, I'd agree
and
with
this was
that. For sure.
This was a Christian school.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was.
I'm inclined to say this is true, but I think we should at least hear out the poker story as
let's
well.
move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
Josh,
Mr.
pal,
Gambler.
when was this?
I didn't really want to bring this up beforehand because I found it a little bit embarrassing, but I thought I needed to maybe mention it now. This was in lockdown. Obviously, for some of lockdown, I was in Southampton. This was when I was in lockdown in Devon with my parents. I got pretty bored, to be honest, so I started playing a bit of online poker. I know we've played it a few times at uni. I generally did quite well when we were playing it at uni, so I thought maybe I could make a little bit of money out of it. And then I tried to do it and lost £100.
Do your parents know about it?
Not yet. It depends how much of the podcast they watch.
Depends if they... Yeah, okay, so this could be where they find out. Right.
Josh, what website was this on?
This was on Zynga Poker.
Does anyone know if that's a real thing?
Well, there's a
Well, I have
poker
no idea.
website called
Yeah, it is.
Zynga.com, so I assume that's what he means.
Yeah.
What's the colours for
think
the
it is.
logo of that website?
It's red and black, mate.
I don't buy it. I feel like this is the sort of funny thing to tell us. Be like, oh, look what I wasted my money on this time, guys.
I feel
I'm
like
Josh Morley.
you-
I love to spend money like an idiot. This time I spent it playing poker.
I think Josh thinks he's quite good at poker, so he wouldn't want to admit that he's done badly
Yeah,
at it.
oh,
I think
that's-
it's
You might-
Why would he admit it in this format to the world?
Yeah, why admit to us now?
How many games did you play to lose £100?
I started off not playing a huge amount because I was aware of the fact that I could lose money. But obviously, it's effectively a form of gambling, right? So if you start winning, you think, oh yeah, I am actually really good at this. I've been right to do it. So the more I started to play,
This ain't real. This ain't real.
the more I played it, the more kind of confident I got, the more games I wanted to play. And I think as well, it was one of the things that kept me a bit sane during lockdown was having this thing to do.
So you're saying this
So
took-
you've
this
basically-
took place over several days or weeks, and you started making money and then you lost.
Yeah, he's just admitted to a gambling dependency. I now believe this even less than the pirate story, and I thought that was impossible.
I think
It wasn't a dependency, it was a short-term thing where I enjoyed doing it, but when I...
It wasn't dependency, it was just a short-term fix. You sound like a drug addict right now.
I feel like
exactly.
I can stop.
I mean, I could stop, and I did stop after I'd lost 100. I think it was more like £105 something. But I just put 100 as it.
Well, that makes it more believable.
I reckon you may well have lost some money, but I don't think it would be £100.
I mean,
Yeah,
do you
I'd
not
be
think I'm
worried.
that stupid?
I feel like you might have lost
a
a couple of quid, and you'd be like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, he lost the couple of quid that he earned making that pirate.
The same £2 piece.
Right, okay. Are we all done with the questions on all three of these?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, well, Adam and Ethan, I want to say is the second
Yeah,
one.
I agree.
But the only thing that holds me back is that seems like the one that should be true, therefore is it?
Yeah, but also look how badly he told the other
Don't
story.
second guess yourself, Adam.
He might have been acting badly.
Nah.
You know, he
Yeah,
could have
but-
done it deliberately badly. But also, do you really believe Josh is that good a liar? I don't think he'd have
He
been
said-
able to tell
look-
the second story as convincingly as he did.
Yeah, Adam, I honestly think it is.
I've been watching you guys all throughout, and I've picked up some tips on how to lie and how not to.
Yeah, no, you
Nah,
haven't. All right, Adam. What would you have any other suggestions?
No, not realistic ones. No.
We'll go with that then. We'll go with that.
Yeah, okay. We'll say the second one, and leave it in the hands of our counterparts. So if they get it right and we get it wrong, they win. But otherwise, we win. So
Oh, wow. Okay, guys.
Damn it, I was leaning towards the second one as well, but I think if we want any chance of...
I'm more convinced than Potts is about the first one. He could have been intentionally doing a bad explanation. I do feel like the first one, just as on first glance, seems more believable.
David, do you reckon Zynga is a site that Josh would have come across or would know about even if he wasn't playing online poker?
Well, I think possibly I think he did play online poker, but I think he might turn around to say like, no, I actually won money, or I didn't lose that much money.
Okay.
So I think there is an element of truth behind that one.
Okay, so which one are we going with?
I just feel like it could be C. Like, I know we just dismissed that one completely, but maybe Josh was so badly, is lying so poorly because it was an act.
I thought it was C at the start as well, but...
I mean, yeah, because C looks so out of place. That's the thing. He's engineered this, so it looks like that is the most unlikely option. But I think that could be the truth.
Smart play.
Although then again, I hope it is a lie, because losing 100 quid on poker isn't good.
I'm going to go with A. I'm so sorry.
Fuck. I do want C to be true. Part of me really wants C to be true. So I'm gonna say C.
I'm
gonna say C.
Oh Christ! I think I might go C then, because it's 50-50 between those two. Yeah.
Baz.
Please be C.
Okay.
Cool.
Josh.
Okay, Josh. Just tell the truth now. Like, make that your reveal.
I can reveal that the truth was that I won a cash prize for making an arts and crafts.
Oh no!
What?
No! No! That was me!
No!
What?
I feared it was that one.
No, you didn't. Nobody did other than George. No, George thought it was that one. Adam, you didn't.
But no, but in the back of my mind, I did have the...
Oh, in the back of your mind,
Because he
Because he told it so abysmally.
Yeah, you did.
To be fair, Potts, you dismissed it very strongly. Like, you didn't even give it a say.
Yeah. I would say I was no more assertive than Ethan was.
I
Ethan was the one that
shot Josh down.
immediately went, this ain't true.
After the, what did he use to make it? And he just said arts and crafty materials. I was like...
Yeah, that sounded like a fucking...
But that's the point. He's meant to make the truth sound like a
lie.
lie.
Ever since this, I was like, this sounds so unbelievable. I'll put it in.
Mate, that sounds like it
right.
made some...
The other thing was the cash prize... Was the cash prize actually just a £2
it was
coin?
Just a £2 coin.
What fucking kind of sham ceremony is this that they're just giving you like cash in hand? I thought they'd give you like a £15 book voucher or something. They'd give you like a £10 book voucher.
It's a primary school.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you did a very good job.
This is true.
Like, well done.
Round of applause.
Like, all things aside.
To speak on the other two, at my secondary school, the head pupil, or senior Grecian, they actually were called, did used to have to give a speech in Latin, but then like so many people just stopped doing Latin. They thought it was pointless after a while. And then I've never bet any money playing poker. Okay, so there we have it. Matt's team has triumphed over David's team.
Well, as victor, I think it's only high time that I say that's enough from us today, and indeed for a while now, because sadly it is the end of season 1 of the podcast. Aww. Okay, never mind. Yeah, come on. We will be back eventually. Maybe in 2021, so you don't have to wait, and you can just go and binge all the old episodes in the meantime, you know? There's plenty to do. But yeah, no, thank you very much, as always, for listening, and we hope you tune in as and when we do return.